Happy Monday, National Title Monday for basketball lovers out there. Well, not the ones wearing crimson. We're sad, but hopefully we can get up a little bit to get into this. You know, we're still a part of it. So we're here for it. National Title Monday. As you can see, our wolf pack has grown in numbers tonight. We were once a wolf pack of 2. We're now a wolf pack of 3 this evening. But man, glad to be here on this Monday. Opening kick. We're back at you. As always, I got my man, Smoke Dixon. How you doing, sir? I'm
doing good. Wiping my tears with my upside down title towel.
I'm with you, bro.
Now get yours right side. See, we got the right one with the right side up.
And as I mentioned, newest member of the Wolf Pack, someone who I will inevitably refer to as Raj Eric, something other than his name, his God-given name by his parents, which is Herb. Welcome to the show from the Herb and Raj show, and kind of showing up. Man, he's just kind of infected the Bama Standard the way I did, man. I see what you're doing here. I'm on to you, Herb.
You're not supposed to tell everybody, but it's part of my takeover. Yes.
Herb.
Yes. But if you call me the wrong name, it'll only be the 3rd time today already. So I'm ready for it. Let's go on.
Well, Raj Eric, Herb, Ragsdale, we are glad to have you as a part of the Wolf Pack here at the opening kick tonight, which we have a jam-packed show for you. We are going to talk a little bit of Alabama spring football. Look, I get it. I know it's on every show right now, but we're getting to the end, and you're Bama fans. You want it. We're going to give it to you a little bit more. And Smoke might have a little bit different twist if you haven't been paying attention. Herb might as well. We're talking a little that. Milroe might have gotten an invitation to a big event coming up in Green Bay later this month. It is? Yeah, it's coming up quick. Milroe getting invited to the draft. We're going to discuss it. And Bama fans, I don't know if you're paying attention around the capstone, but it's not just football and softball these days that the Crimson Tide kicks some ass at. Kind of doing it across the board here at the capstone. We're going to talk a little bit about that and the crazy company that they're in all of the major sports right now. And look, we'd be remiss. It's National Championship Monday. It kicks off right at the tail end of our show. So we will go into the national title and give you our thoughts on Florida Houston right as they kick off. But with that said, again, appreciate you guys being with us. Hit that like and subscribe. If you're on Twitter X, come over to the Bama Standard on YouTube. Hit that subscribe so you can get alerts on all that great Bama Standard content. With that said, got to give a little love to the sponsored. Smoke already did one with Will Sports and our title towels that kind of wiped our tears last week. But we're gonna wave them again. They will ride again. But also, realrockstone.com. Look, if you're looking for if you're building that dream home, you've always seen those homes with that beautiful natural stone. Said, I want my house to look like a castle. Well, now's the time. Lambstone Company at realrockstone.com. They're located in Aniana, Alabama, one of the oldest, most trusted sources in the state. They can fit all your stone project needs, whether it even be out in the garden. And tell them we sent you by using the promo code the Bama Standard to receive 10% off your purchase of stone today. That's a heck of a deal. So check them out at realrockstone.com. Of course, after the show, Lambstone. That is Real Rock. Guys, like I said, we got to give the football. We got to feed the animal. As I understand, Smoke, the quarterback situation is kind of getting settled. I believe it may be Ty's turn, as our graphic alluded to. We talked about the quarterback situation. It sounds like a few players may be getting shelved and going into this final week, which will give other players a chance to maybe fight for some position spots at the wide receiver, tight end, maybe the defense, offensive line. But I've talked enough, out of breath. I'm going to turn it over to you guys. Smoke, what you hear, my man?
Well, I mean, Bama fans always want to hear about Ty Simpson being the guy, and I think he is right now. And I think he's put in that same situation where we looked at and where Mac Jones was a few years back. Sat around, waited his turn, and now it's his time. Even though we have that 5-star Keelan Russell coming in, what I've been hearing out of Tuscaloosa, what I've been reading out of Tuscaloosa as well, too, is that Ty is above and beyond the rest of those guys. And he should be. He's been there forever. He knows the offense inside and out. The only one other than Austin Mack that's been in this offense from spring, summer, and another year round. So when you're in that position and you also have the leadership ability that he's shown, because he's been voted on the leadership council, you have the belief of your players and your coaches, and now you have a new offensive coordinator coming in. You've won him over for seemingly the time. Austin Mack seems to be the number 2-ish kind of player. And I'm not going to steal too much of it. I want my man Smoke and Herb. And guys, get his name right. Smoke and Herb might have something to do with that now. Herb. Not Rod.
Hey, don't give away the production.
Wait, why we got to bring up my college days? Oh, y'all are nicknames. My bad.
Yeah. We're actually talking about the production meeting a little bit.
Oh, man, y'all talking about smoking. I'm starting to have flashbacks to college.
We got off of that before we got on that, but that's what I've just been hearing and just understanding about the quarterback carousel that's been going on in Tuscaloosa and just the competition.
Herb, you shocked to hear that Ty's kind of taking the reins in the QB room?
Not at all. I think he had the perfect comparison. When Mac and Bryce were there, and everybody was like, "Oh, Bryce, highly touted, he's coming in," and Mac was like, "Nah, I stuck around for a reason." Think about what just last year and having 2 or 3 quarterbacks, and I was like, we got to lose some of them eventually, and we lost a couple, and Ty was the one that stayed. He has to. There's something in it that he saw. Like, look, regardless of what happened to Mac Jones after he got to the NFL. There's a path there. I just need one good year. And if I stay in this one system and I show out this next year, that could be it. And second thing is I think with the talent that they're assembling around, to me, there's a misconception. The talent has not been great the last 2 or 3 years. You just had the greatest coach in the world and you were getting the most out of every position. But it hasn't been great. We got to the national title game with 1.5 receivers, and one of those receivers was a transfer in,
Right.
So it hasn't been great. This is probably one of the best assembled talent as far as look at your wide receiver room. We're talking about the competition for wide receiver 3 is about 4 or 5 guys deep with guys you wouldn't mind having in there, right? Running back room, they've assembled a great running back room. You've probably got your best offensive play caller that you've had in a while. Ty doesn't have to be great. He just has to not be bad at it. If he shows good leadership and is competent and gets the ball in the right places, it could be a big year for him without having to stretch himself too much.
Well, it's funny you say that because not bad has been the quarterbacks that have kind of won more of the titles in Alabama. The great quarterbacks have been the ones that, the greatest. But with that said, you brought up the wide receivers and battling, and I think Smoke has a little bit of beat on that. I think they may be shutting down the unsung number 1, Ryan Williams. They may or may not Smoke, but what's that battle looking like? I know there's one guy, a young buck you love, and a transfer that's kind of making some noise. He may be in the 2 slot though.
Yeah. Well, just talking about Ryan Williams, they shut him down for good reason. Right.
Yeah.
This is the end of spring. I think they got everything they wanted out of him for spring. They've talked about being able to move him around for him to understand in the offense. It's all you really need when you have a stallion like that.
Right.
And I get it, at times you have to see what that player is. But right now, if we don't know that he's one of the top receivers in the country, then we're all fooling ourselves. And does he necessarily need to go through spring ball and beat himself up? I don't think so.
Yeah. And
so he's figured it out. They have good comparable coaches over there that understand that less for him probably is more. He's only $180, and you got to understand that wear and tear for 16 games, at some point you see him get worn down. And if we look back at last year, we saw him start out really, really hot. Then as the season went along, we saw Ryan kind of get beat up. And you saw almost a freshman wall that he hit.
Yes.
And you didn't see that same explosive, game-breaking, impactful player towards the end of the season like we saw earlier. So, with all this technology and studying science and all that, they might have just said, hey, you know what, load-wise, just let's put them on the shelf until we get to fall ball when it really counts. Because right now it's spring, it's a spring practice. And shutting him down doesn't necessarily mean he's not doing anything. He's probably just not into anything full contact or anything that's ramped up in a competition standpoint. But the other receivers that I've been hearing good things about, is the transfer from Miami, Isaiah Horton.
Mm-hmm.
Size, speed, playmaking ability might be our number 2 right now. And last year we were like, if we would have had this guy, we've all been doing jumping jacks, backflips, and just praising, let's go, because we didn't have anyone with juice like this kid has. So right now you're looking at Jeremy Bernard, a good receiver last year, career year, possibly being our number 3 or 2B, with 2 young guys, Latsier Brooks and Rico Scott, nipping at all of those guys' heels, saying we want more action. And when you take Ryan out, there's a chance that you can put Latsier Brooks in his place for spring to see exactly what you can get, if need be, during the year.
Well, you alluded to it, Herb, that you feel like this wide receiver room has stepped up. Yeah. Does that give the ability, and Smoke, you shared something today where they're kind of talking about looking at Ryan Williams, and we heard it everywhere. We heard it with K-Law, which it never came to fruition last year, that they may be looking at different ways to get Ryan the ball.
He wasn't up to speed on the offense last year. And like I said, the only game that I attended last year was the Vanderbilt game. And you saw his position coach and his teammates basically lining him up. And again, he's a true freshman. He's supposed to go through that. Yeah. But year 2 in the system and understanding why you need to run this route this way or be in this particular spot is just the understanding of the offense now. So yes, you can move him around, and he understands the concept and big picture of why they're doing that and how they're going to get him the ball. And sometimes being the best receiver, you can be the best decoy as well too, to allow your offense to function in the run and pass game.
Yeah. I think Jeremy Bernard's best games is when they kind of realize, okay, he's here. We don't have to throw it to Ryan Williams 15 times a game, because Jeremy Bernard, let's be honest, he ran crisper routes, I think, at times than Ryan Williams did, especially later in the season. So I think he was wide open. And we're mentioning wide receiver room. We have 2 guys coming off injury, Hale and Cole Adams. That's 2 other guys that you got to think are in the mix as well. It's like the names, and we're not just throwing out names that we think might have potential. These are guys that we, he mentioned with the newcomers have already shown, and the guys who are coming off injury, you've seen what they're doing. The wide receiver room is deep, man. It is deep.
And we're forgetting Derek Meadows.
Yes.
Like, he's not an afterthought. He's also in that group.
Right.
But those other 2 young guys, they've just been lighting it up in spring ball. And that's not saying that Derek is not doing his thing as well too, but just those 2 guys, man, they've been putting on a show along with that secondary as well too. Good competition all the way around.
Yeah, I agree.
I've heard enough from people like you and Smoke that would know, and what they're seeing out of the wide receiver room, that this Latsier Brooks really is. He is different. Joshua Haney says, "What about Rico Scott?" I think he's in that. Number 3 role. We've talked about him. He's 6'6", but plays more like a
Rico's right about 5'11", 6 foot from the last time I measured him at the University of Maryland. That was 2 years ago, from Harrisburg, PA, Bishop McDevitt High School. Wanted him at Maryland, but I left, so I guess he went somewhere else. But here, listen, I got a quick story for you there, Herb. So Rico comes down, I want to say sophomore year. And this is just, if I had to throw out a note to any recruit, always know who the head coach is, always know who your position coach is. You already know who's recruiting you, but also understand who the coordinator is. Right. So we had an indoor practice. Not going to throw the coach that recruited him out of Harrisburg, PA, Bishop McDevitt, because I don't want to throw him under the bus. But at the end of practice, I used to grab Coach Loxley, and we make our rounds to meet the players that came down for our practice. So I see Rico Scott walking over, said, "Great, boom, grab Coach Locks. Coach Locks, let's go." Rico Scott, Coach Locks. So he looked and said, "Coach, can you show me where the head coach is?"
Oh, wow.
Coach Locks looked at him and was like, "Oh, you're talking about me. Just because I have this hefty stomach in front of me, what did you think? I was an offensive line coach." Coach Locks, it was funny to us, but just for kids, if you don't know who the head coach is at the school that you're pulling up, you might want to know that before you go in and just start mouthing off to who the head coach is.
And did you turn around and walk out the door at that point? Was that it?
No, absolutely not. It's not on the kid. Not on the kid. Who's recruiting the kid should let him know. This is when he was a freshman, sophomore in high school. So yeah, he's just he's coming down. most kids don't know that the University of Maryland has a black coach.
Right.
And on the position coach or the recruiting coach, that's your job to sell your head coach. So I learned a valuable lesson that day. Make sure I prep everyone before your head coach comes over to say hello. But dynamite player, though. Reminds me a lot of a young Deshaun Jackson. And I know that's like out there, but in terms of speed, taking the top off the defense and playing bigger than that 5'10", 5'11" frame, yeah, he's one of them.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of opportunities for wide receivers. You know, it's not a situation where, hey, you go out and have 2 drops and we just have to ride with you. I mean, there's 2-3 other guys waiting to take your position, I feel like, at least from the outside.
But,
so,
Herb, think about this. You remember last year we all sat back and was like, why is a young 17-year-old or 18-year-old at that time, whatever point it was for him that he turned 18, why is he getting all those targets? And who else can actually get the ball? Because everybody knows we're trying to throw it to one guy.
Right.
And then Jeremy came on later on during the season, and you saw the offense take off a little bit. But Ryan looked very beat up and tired.
He did.
Which, when you have 4, 5, and I think if you have a good receiver room, you should have a 6-man rotation.
Yeah.
Because at times you need those guys to come out the game on blocking plays, or when Ryan runs a vertical route and he's gassed, come on out. But when he comes out, it doesn't have to be a total drop off of everybody that can't run and nobody's scared of him.
Right.
I don't think that's going to be the same play with this new group of receivers.
Yeah. If his Madden rating's 100 and the next guy's 90, like, we're not losing a whole lot if the next guy comes in. No, I get you. We actually had a Georgia guy on our podcast, and he just mentioned the physicality that Williams was going to have to go through last year. I mean, it's a huge jump from high school to the SEC. So
totally.
Well, and not just, I mean, and let's talk about high school to the SEC. Smoke talks about it regularly. The first game he attended live where you're really getting to view the whole field was that Vanderbilt game. We're talking about Vanderbilt. And look, man, he got physical. He got big.
Oh, he got handled. He was getting handled. Forget physical. Physical is a good word. He was getting handled, hands put on him, and he just couldn't get off a press. But again, he's a baby. He's supposed to be that way.
Yeah.
I might know somebody that started and played as a true freshman too. Like, you struggle at some point.
You're going to hit a wall.
Yeah, I hit a wall.
Yeah.
I hit that wall. But the only good thing for me was I slowly got introduced to the college game. I played special team first. By game 6, I was starting. Young fella was starting from the gate with pressure on him. I didn't have any pressure on him. I was just getting away and don't get beat a lot.
And then when you show out like you do and you set the bar that high out of the gate, it's expected every game. And like you said, realistic expectations. You kind of forget them that the kid's 17 and there is going to be a real.
Yeah, we want to see Georgia every week.
That's the thing.
Smoke, he's not the only one getting shut down. It doesn't sound like. I think, we're kind of thin at tight end. You said maybe Cuevas is getting shut down to breed a little bit little more competition in that spot. Just
reading and listening to Coach Kalen DeBoer's press conference after the second scrimmage. Yeah, he's getting shut down. And then again, not because he's hurt. He might be a little bit banged up a little bit. But again, it's a lack of depth.
Yeah.
And I know Bama fans will say, well, why don't they have as many tight ends ever? Listen, I've been in the NFL, in college. The number one position that everyone's looking for and waiting for is that unicorn, tight ends, especially ones that can block. And if you have one that can block, you don't want to beat them up. If you have the one that can play and be a force in the middle of the field, you want to save them. Because one of the hardest things to do is rely on a young freshman coming into camp for production. So like I said earlier, of yesterday on Constantly Smoking, or you need to jump on there at some point too. My man Marvin Constant and I get very loose. Probably that's about your speed. Right?
Did you see the Saturday night show?
Constantly Smoking Herb, but we'll work on the whole word.
It fits right into the title. Constantly Smoking Herb.
Rides and smoke, constantly smoking herb. It works.
I'm down.
There it is.
I'm not making another.
I could see where Coach DeBoer and Coach Grubbs have more 4 wide receiver sets this year. And I know Bama fans will say, well, at Mike Loxley's height of his career when he was calling plays at Alabama, there were a lot of 4 receiver sets that they ran the ball out of. Because you can do that when you have receivers that are willing to block on the perimeter, which I think this group is going to.
Yeah, I think Horton possesses the size to be able to do that as well. But that tight end, it's as fans are can attest, that's the position that I think the fans most scream for when it goes missing from an offense. It's like, well, why can't we get to the tight end over the middle? It's the most dangerous spot.
It ain't that easy.
Yeah.
If it was that easy, everybody would have 4 or 5, and you wouldn't be screaming for Travis Kelce to come back when he can't even daggone walk.
Yeah, they don't grow on trees.
No, they don't. CJ Dupree
can run, block. Like you said, those are the ones that, like the Gonzaleses, that can also block and do a little bit of it all. Not just because now we've gotten to either you can block or you're that hybrid that's almost a receiver that's too big to play receiver.
Right, and I don't think Bama needs a hybrid because you got receivers up and down the roster. Yeah. So putting a tight end in space and putting a receiver in space and asking them just to get in the way, same thing.
Yeah, I'm going to trademark the constantly smoking herb shirt. First trademark, right? That didn't note that we're on the air. Speaking of trademark, I think we could trademark Smoke's opinion on running backs at the university here lately. What's it shaking out? Is Dre Washington the transfer? Is he working his way into carries with Jam? I know Richard is, one that everybody's excited about. So what's the latest word on the back, Smoke?
Well, the way that I would always look at, and I think the audience is to understand, when you get in the transfer portal, you're not getting in the transfer portal just for bodies. You're getting in the transfer portal because he's going to have to play a significant role in your offense. No matter what we all think about him, money spent. And I don't think Alabama is up to the level of using money on players that can't play. Courtney Morgan's a way better general manager than just to have a guy just come to the University of Alabama to show up to eat good barbecue and pretend like he wants to play football. Washington's going to have a pivotal role in our rushing attack, along with Jalen Milore. And I know everyone wants to say, hey, who's going to start? Listen, it's a tandem role. Whenever Bama was rolling, you had 3 guys that were football players that all ran the ball at a high level. And you weren't playing or planning to play 16 games. 16 games is an NFL season. The last year, the national champions, there was a kid, let me see, from Ole Miss. I can't remember his name. Can you, Petty? That played running back that transferred from Ole Miss to go to Ohio State. You remember that guy's name?
No.
Okay, Quinshon Judkins.
I've got amnesia.
He sounds like me. Who?
Left Ole Miss to go to Ohio State with Travion Henderson in a tandem role.
Yeah.
Which benefits him.
Smart business.
Because of this wear and tear on your body that you don't want as a running back. Running backs in the NFL, once you get to 28, 29 years old, your value starts going down. So these kids are looking at it and saying, hey, listen, if I don't have to beat my body up, I can go in a tandem role. I can get the plays that I need to get off. I'll be perfectly fine. I don't have to starve and be hungry for these runs. I just have to get my carries and my touches at the right time of the season.
Oh, you nailed it, man. He took 15 touches off of his plate a game, wins a national title, gets paid the same, getting drafted the same. It's a no-brainer. I mean, come on. Like, I love, like, hoo-ha, let's go sports, but I mean, you only got so many steps on this football field. You got to make the best of them.
And you know what?
We knew it was Judkins. I was being smart. I wasn't real happy.
I know you knew who he was. But also, you have to understand that.
I'm not really mad at the kid. I joke about it. I think he made a great decision for himself. And you can't get mad when your team gets guys when someone steals yours because you're stealing someone else's. It's just,
right.
Petty, you throwing that word "steal" out there again. I don't think Ohio State needs to steal anybody from Ole Miss. I think Quinshon Judkins willingly went up to Columbus and volunteered his services for a nice price. And he did finish like one place higher at the end of the year than every other SEC team finished. I think it was number 1 with a national championship. So,
Smoke, you say potato, I say potato.
Yeah.
He got stole. You say he went, I say he got stole. Whatever you want to, whatever you want to call it. I'll call it what I want to call it. You call it what rational people call it. Before we get to the defense, well, no, let's do the defense real quick. We got to get to it. We'll get to the Milroe spot. Well, man, we're getting because this has been a good discussion, man. Again, I know the Bama fans love this. They're tuning in for it. Let's talk a little bit defense, man. I'm not going to name all the names. I think that's the deal. There's so many names at the linebacker spot, at the defensive line spot, especially at the defensive back spot. Yep. Is any of it shaking out to where guys are sustaining roles, or is this kind of a luxury where you go into fall camp where you don't worry about, you put that depth chart in sand and keep everybody happy?
Herb, you want to pick this one first up? You want me to run with it?
No, you're gonna have much better insight on it for sure.
All right.
So I'll follow your lead.
Here's the thing about Alabama's defensive line that I need to see this for myself. The defensive line position is a position that you don't really know until you show up to a practice to understand their true impact, because most of the time it's not a tackle to the ground. You can't get to the quarterback. So it's really one-on-one drills or pod work where it's 2-on, 2-on-1, 3-on-2. And then you go and you hear the pads. Like defense, I have to hear it. I got to hear them pads get set. I got to hear thunder getting cracked to understand the force that the defensive line is playing with, knocking the offensive line off the ball for me to truly understand this. I can hear about receivers and quarterback play through the grapevine and whoever's there on the ground, but I need to hear it for myself. And I'll be in Tuscaloosa tomorrow to watch practice. So I'll give you a little bit more insight before we get to our spring practice. And also from the linebacker position, Marvin Constant and I touched on it in Constantly Smoking episode that you guys need to go check out. It's going crazy. I think we have over 3,000 views right now, Herb. So next time that we have this thing, you're going to jump on.
Now while you're talking.
Listen, you provide the bourbon, I'll provide the smoke.
Now I got some good bourbon.
All right. So Jamaica. There you go. Appleton rum. So even the linebacker position, Marvin and I were talking about it. The whole communication aspect from it. Natil Greenhill, transfer that came in from Colorado.
Yep.
Starting right now at linebacker. I don't think he's going to play linebacker unless Lawson can't do it early on in the season, but it's a good experience for the third linebacker and all the young guys to get these practice reps during spring, to get the communication, the line guys up, to understanding what the entire defense looked like from the whole, not just from their lens, from understanding what the back end is tied in to the guys up front. And just listening to Coach DeBoer, the linebackers are struggling a little bit, and they should. This is brand new to them. 2 weeks in, you don't know the entire defense. I don't care how intelligent that you are. You're still picking it up and still trying to figure out the communication. You're still trying to figure out your teammates. You just got there, for Christ's sake, in January. You're probably still trying to find out names and how guys play. How can I play off of guys? Because that has a lot to do with the linebacker play. So that linebacker play is struggling a little bit right now, but it's acceptable and it's understood. Defensive line, I got to see this and hear it for myself. I don't want anybody else to tell me about defensive play in the front seven other than myself, my ears, and my eyes. So I'll get that back to you tomorrow when I pull back in and we have that conversation. On the Bama Standard, Petty, remember what time?
7:00.
There you go.
Eastern. 6 Central, right? That's right. I'm in the Eastern time zone over here in Florida. Herb, anything to add before we hit some quick fire questions from the fans and hit the Milroe topic?
No, he hit kind of a lot, and that's a problem. You're getting information from other people that have seen, put eyes on it. I've actually heard decent things about Hill Green and how he's fitting in. People are kind of waiting on LT Overton to maybe make another step to kind of solidify that room. And then what was my other name? I thought Dijon Lee looking good in the defensive backfield too as well. They love that kid, so you hear a lot of good things. I think the competition aspect of what we've got going on, there's a lot of names, and they're coming in at a time where we returned a lot of starters, probably unprecedented for the transfer portal era, but freshmen are still getting their shots and they're still coming out there, and everything's kind of working in without, Damani Jackson not out there practicing, Keon Sabb still hurt. So guys, I think are really kind of stepping in. I'm excited to see, and I'm an offensive guy. I'd rather have every game be like 45-40, but I think the defense is going to be stout, and there's a lot of competition, a lot of names that you see going on there. But
whenever you hear about receiver play being like elite and real good, and also hearing that the competition at DBs, that's encouraging.
Mm-hmm.
Because as a Bama fan, we knew when Bama was rolling that the secondary play was lights out and the receiver play was always lights out. We just always understood to know for a fact that the interior, the heart, the spine of our team, which is the front seven in the trenches, was always going to be locked in. Last few years, it's kind of been a big question mark. Yeah. But just to touch it on the DBs, those young guys, Ivan Taylor, Dejon Lee, they've been making a significant impact in practice.
I'm excited.
And it's just not lining up and covering guys. It's making impactful plays.
Yeah.
And when you hear going back and forth with Ryan Williams, Latsir Brooks, Isaiah Horton, and it's not these guys are getting torched and like, no, it's good on good. Iron sharpen iron. I think this group is going to continue to get each other better. And even that Jackson's out for the spring, there's not a drop off.
Right.
But the only name that I have not heard about, and I don't know where he's at right now, is Jalen Mbakwe.
Yeah.
Like I've said, every name except
his name,
an elite talent like Mbakwe.
That's a great. I think one of our audience questions, and again, there's so many names. There's inevitably some going to get lost in the shuffle of guys that when you get out there with that kind of talent, there's dudes that just kind of step up and rise to the occasion. Some guys get lost in the shuffle. Be interesting, and I'm really excited that you're going to practice so you can lay your eyes on it yourself and report back and give us the smoke take.
I'm going to report what they allow me to report, and I have my own opinions anyway.
No way, Smoke. You have your own opinions? I
just started the other day.
Speaking of opinions, let's rapid fire this before we get to the Milroe. Our audience has been on fire with questions. We've got Bama ones and actually some outside Bama that are really good. Starting it with Tough as Nails, one of Smoke's biggest fans. Roll Tide, y'all. AI ranked the SEC coaches going into 2025. Here's the top 5. Number 1, Kirby Smart. Number 2, Steve Sarkisian. Number 3, Lane Kiffin. Number 4, Brian Kelly. Number 5, Kalen DeBoer. And number 16 was Sunbelt Billy Napier. Guys, what's your thoughts on this list? Did AI get it right?
Brian Kelly too high. Billy Napier saved himself at the end of last year. But was that him or was that DJ Lagway? So
Lagway.
Yeah. How do you
rank that? What he was able to do navigating that with all the injuries at the end of the year, I think Billy's actually getting a raw deal here.
No, he's not. No, he's not. You know what would be cool if Tough as Nails would have just went ahead and just gave all list. 16.
The whole list.
Because that middle of the pack group, I think that's what Herb wants to see. If we can flip, twist, move.
Yeah.
Because I get it. And I don't think BK's too high. I don't. Because who would you take Brent Venables over BK?
No, he's gonna get fired.
So what you're kind of going with the if I move him down, who do I move up?
I might take.
You're right, but I don't want to move anybody up. I've just talked to enough.
I'll tell you, I would probably take Heupel over Kelly.
Okay, you would take Heupel over Kelly,
right? Yeah.
Okay, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
And I get you're biased because of what you saw in the last couple of years, but are they that big of a difference?
Given the resources being I would say about even between the two programs head to head. I mean, the last couple of years, Heupel's built a program that had been in the shitter, and now they're in the top 10 nationally. And man, Brian Kelly took over a gold mine in LSU and hadn't been, their defense has digressed. They haven't really gotten over the hump. So yeah, I'd lean Heupel right now.
Yeah. I'll say this on Brian Kelly real quick. I'm sorry. The preparation to me is an issue. The way he starts off every season, they never seem prepared for the first game. I feel like Notre Dame Brian Kelly was a much more prepared. I'm gonna get every ounce out of this team. Where LSU Brian Kelly, I don't know if it's laziness or what, I've got more talent, so maybe I don't have to do as much. That's an outside feel. I have no sources in, this is an outside view, but it doesn't feel like he's getting the most out of that program year to year.
I think you're on to something. You're digging, but you don't want to put your claws all the way in. So I'm going to go ahead and get dirty for you.
I appreciate
you don't have
to.
to.
I haven't had enough bourbon yet to get really into it, man.
Listen, get you a glass. Pour up. So what I would say about BK, when my dad is a great grandfather right now, and he got soft. He was tough on me. The grandkids got a little softer. Great grandkids, he's really soft. Right. I think BK left Notre Dame, went down to Baton Rouge, and this is a retirement job. And you just don't see the same fire and energy that you saw when he was trying to get to a national championship.
Smoke. I think we're smarter than AI, and I know Herb is. So we'll bring him back, and we'll make a better. And we'll do 1 through 6. We'll do the whole list. We'll rank the SEC coaches.
Yeah, I knock it out, but Napier ain't moving.
Get it right. Tough as nails. Man, y'all talked about it. A name you haven't heard will Bach transfer.
Interesting.
We flirted with it last year.
I don't think he transfers just because his best friend is who?
Yeah.
It is Ryan.
Yeah, I think they'll make him happy to make Ryan happy.
Yeah.
And it's not, I mean, if he does transfer, what is he? I think he has to figure out who he wants to be. And I think he's just at a crossroad right now, and it's early in his career, of who do I want to be? Does he want to be Travis Hunter 2.0? Does he want to be the best defensive back and he's truly athletic? Or is he going to go on the offensive side and learn how to play receiver? But right now, all those receivers are ahead of him.
Yeah.
So when does he get on the field? And when do you create opportunities for him?
Yeah. And you might be losing ground on the defensive side of the ball if you're trying to get into the offensive side. So
there's some young guys over there saying, I don't give a damn.
Yeah. I'll answer the question. I don't care how close friends you are in this era. I think if he's not playing, he flirted with it once. He'll flirt again. That's how they do, man. You get the girl that flirts. You better watch her. The Run In Wrestling Pod. If it is Ty and then Mac, does Russell look at the portal?
I don't think there's any way they ever let it be known that it's Mac second. If that was the case and they had to lose one, they're going to tell Russell he's number 2. They're going to put packages in for him and Mac will be gone. I just don't see any way they let Russell get out the building.
Yeah, listen.
I don't either.
You can't play in today's college football era and walk into a season without 3 quarterbacks. Right now, Bama's roster, there's only 3. And they ain't getting any more unless they go into the portal. There's 3 on the roster. That's scholarship players. The way they've done spring football is so at high intelligence of understanding how to massage the depth chart and the rep chart. Because there's truly no depth chart. There's a rep chart. There's a guy that's running with the ones sometimes, with his tie. Then he'll take Austin Mack and put him with the ones as well, too. Give Keelan Russell the 2s, but also give Mack a little bit of the 2s, but give Mack just enough hope to think that he's going to be the guy, but push him all the way into fall ball. Because if they ever made Austin Mack, the 3rd string quarterback, yeah, I think he would be out of there soon as the portal cracks dawn.
Yeah.
But he should go out. He should hit the portal, honestly. He ain't going to play. But pretend like I ain't say that.
Yeah. If I was honest and I was and he asked me and I was his friend, I'd say, look, there's no path to you starting at Bama anytime soon.
Go get that
like
money.
You said, the coaching staff wants to keep. They want a 4th quarterback. How are you going to convince a 4th quarterback to come here and not start? I have no idea. I wish them luck. But Mac, I just don't see it happening.
The way that you have to handle the portal and handle the quarterback position, I don't think they have room to add a 4th quarterback.
Right.
Back in the old days, yeah, you would have a room with 4. But right now, if you have a room of 4, you really have only a room of 2 because 2 are trying to get out. Right. 3, you have a shot, but you have to manage this thing the right way. And that's constantly making sure that Austin Mack is engaged because you don't want to go into the season with a freshman quarterback that you can't run the entire offense with if it ever comes down to that, if it's injury to Ty Simpson. At least with Austin Mack, you can run the entire offense and still use a young guy to come in with packages until he gets caught up to speed, maybe game 4 or 5.
Right.
But that's where you have to be able to go into fall camp with all 3 as well, too. So you can keep developing the freshman instead of pushing it on him right away. Because you just don't want to screw that psyche up of a talented player like we all think that Keelan Russell is.
I agree. Joshua Haney, I think he's kind of just echoing this isn't a question Ryan Williams slowed down due to being super young and getting beat up so much due to Milroe targeting so much. I think that's why he got caught up with the injuries now. Oh, yeah, he's a young kid, got freshman. He's 7. Mm-hmm. He's got a 17-year-old body. And it showed. Tan, where is a good fit for Glenn Schumann? He is expected to leave. Is he a head coaching material? Boy, that Smoke apparently was excited about.
Shu's my guy. Shu's my guy. I'm a Glenn Schumann fan. Ideal spot for Glenn Schumann. Herb, let's play. You're the AD and I'm the general manager. We got to hire a head coach. You ready to play?
I'm ready.
All right. We don't believe that he could be at a marquee blue blood first time impact school like Oklahoma, do we?
Yes.
Okay, good. So I can play a scenario where if Brent Venables gets the hook this year,
right,
it's happening.
I can see where Glenn Schumann's name starts moving up.
Right.
That ladder. I mean, he's a son of a coach. He's been around ball his entire life. I remember when he was a student at Alabama and he was Kirby Smart's right-hand guy. He knew everything about that defense, inside and out. And now that he's a defensive coordinator, I mean, just help me think a little bit. He's been a part of that staff that just turned guys inside and out, right? I mean, he does understand how to build a championship program, been around Nick, Kirby, his dad. So, yeah, I could see him going to Oklahoma and not having a problem, as long as he gets the right offensive coach around him and win some games.
Yeah. And let's be honest, having been in the SEC, that helps a lot. We see the learning curve. Having already been here.
And when you think about it, it's not like 10 years ago when you hire a young coach and you say, you know what, you're going to have to use high school recruiting only with JUCO. No, you can actually bring your guys with you. So if the guys on defense really love Shu and want to go with Shu wherever he's at, that gets really good in a heartbeat. And last time I checked, I don't think Oklahoma's ever had a problem writing a check.
Nope. For a player. They can play the game all the way back to the old Southwest Conference days. Speaking of writing checks, hey, you spammers, if you're in there, spam us with some super chats instead of all the stupidity. But writing checks, the NFL is getting ready to write some checks this month. And one guy hoping to get a pretty big one himself is Jalen Milroe. And we found out this week he got an invitation to be there on day 1 of the draft. Smoke, Herb, what is it?
You know, I'm gonna leave this one alone, and I'm gonna let my good friend Herb tell me when I said this back in. Who else told me I was stupid? Everybody in the world.
I've never called you stupid in my life.
You're so stupid.
Okay, so was I shocked? Yes, absolutely. You know, I still had him pegged for a round 2, round 3 guy that somebody was going to draft and
he still might go in round 2.
Right.
Like that's not getting invited or like, and you're not off. The NFL always like people don't understand. They're into the entertainment business.
Right.
They know right now that Cam, Shador, Jackson Dart, and Jalen Milroe. Those are the 4 quarterbacks that the world wants to see.
Mm-hmm.
It's no different than when Will Levis was there. Who's the last guy in the green room? You need that drama. There's no drama right now with the NFL draft. It's dead. Mm-hmm. For one, it's in Green Bay. Blah. Yuck. Great place to watch a game, great place to play a game, but I don't think I want to hang out in Green Bay unless it's like the cheese carnival or cheese festival. And they do have that in Green Bay. Cheese and beer. Not my thing, but some people love that. I think Petty might be into that. Not my thing to be into. But you need to create that drama.
Right.
And if you don't have that, what are we going to pay attention to? An offensive lineman getting drafted? Defensive lineman getting drafted? Oh, yeah. Encouraging. Travis Hunter, the two-way player, getting drafted. So there's nothing to drum it up. But having Jalen Milroe being there and possibly getting flirted with other teams of going in the top 10, 15. Now, when it starts getting to 20, they're going to see the camera right on him. And he's going to have that good Kool-Aid smile. And then if he has to come back for day 2, he still has to be there. So you create more drama within that. So it's not like far-fetched that he still goes in the second round, or he still might. It's just a chance now that they understand that people need to watch and you need to stay engaged in this NFL draft that's not top-heavy in quarterback play. Then he's going to be there, because they tried doing the Shedeur Sanders thing. It's kind of like ran its course.
I agree. Yeah, it's interesting. It is. I mean, you're not wrong on any of that, because it definitely got my attention, because I did kind of go from, we'll check in later to when I got to watch the first round to see what if I get.
Just think about this, Petty.
Well, Smoke, you said, and I'm going to throw this to you before you get going, man. You said a couple weeks ago that you heard rumblings that the Steelers were very interested in him maybe at the end of that first round. And now we're hearing the Saints or even the Browns have started that flirtation. Look,
Florida that could all be like word salad as well, too. I mean, all I did was just try to forecast and just play it out in my own head, just like if I was in a draft room or a general manager or trying to decide who's going to pick who. NFL teams usually throw things out just to see who's going to just bite it, just like a big mouth bass. Mm-hmm. If you throw it out, then it looks good. You open your mouth, get hooked. But if the bass kept his mouth shut, it'd never get hooked. So when you have Jalen Milroe that's gone from hands too small at the Senior Bowl, awful Senior Bowl week, shows up to the combine, hand got bigger. Now, yes, he can play. Now he goes to his pro day. Damn it, he ran a 4.37, and he can throw the ball really well. Now you have these private workouts, highly intelligent. There's somebody that we could use in our building if it's set up the right way. And if you have a veteran and you don't have to push him into play right now, and your team that's set up on the back third of the NFL draft, you don't have to push him right into stardom. You can do the same thing they did to Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson. So it might be more beneficial for him to go to a better team, a better organization that understands how to develop that position, how to nurture a star-like player, unlike what they did in Indianapolis with Anthony Richardson. They completely botched that up.
Yeah, that is
and it's not, and that's on that kid as well too. He wasn't ready, but when you take him top 5, everyone, including the owners, going to say, "What's the plan?" And if your plan is say, "Well, we're just going to run a particular package for him," NFL ain't package. That's college. We just talked about Keelan Russell. That's college. Ain't no packages in the NFL except the winning package. And once your franchise quarterback goes out there and he's not performing up to the level or up to the standard of what his teammates believe, then they don't trust his leadership skills. Yeah, then you might as well go ahead and move him on to somewhere else, because he's lost the building. The building's lost hope in him, and the city's going to turn on him as soon as he does something that's not up to par as a starting quarterback.
And I think a great point you made in all that, the drama, everybody talks about the drama of sitting in the green room to the end, but the beauty in that, there's all the pomp and circumstance of going in the top 10 and walking across the stage. But in reality, most of those teams generally suck ass and are there for a reason drafting. When you go 15 to 25, there's a better chance you're going to one of those Steelers type franchises that know how to develop players, that know how to do it the right way. could end up working out, the Baltimore Ravens beautifully for some, that talk about a match made in heaven, so
hey, Petty. I'm gonna throw a flag on you and that whole Baltimore organization. They lucked up into that. All right, they lucked up into that. So I was there. They lucked up into that one. They lucked up into it.
But you know how the NFL works. They strike gold.
No, I know how the NFL works.
We're gonna try that. We're gonna keep trying it.
No, who was the Ravens' first round draft pick? The first pick, Hayden Hurst.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know where he's at? He's probably hanging out on the same sofa and chair like you and I are, right? And then they traded back up to get into the first round to get Lamar Jackson. They didn't get it right either. Right? The great Ozzie Newsome, he didn't get it right either. They lucked up into that. Because if they didn't say, you know what, we want to trade and get you back up to the 32nd pick, who knows?
Yeah.
So again, it all has to play out, and it's not far-fetched that the Cleveland Browns could say, you know what, we're going to pick the best player at this position with the understanding that there's still a chance that nobody goes up to get Jalen Milroe. Now you're rolling the dice, but if they miss out on him, they're out. But if they have enough ammunition in draft capital that they can trade back up to get him. It's a lot that's left out there. And like I said, they're not going to invite him without the understanding of there's a good chance that they're hearing from team presidents, because nobody wants a kid sitting there for the third round. That's embarrassing. Nor do you want a quarterback to go in the second round and sitting there sweating bullets and his girlfriend leaving him like Levis's girl did him.
Well, you may say I'm smoking Herb.
Hey,
I don't know if you agree.
I don't know if you agree. Levis's family.
I don't know if you agree, Herb. I would rather go later in the first round or even the second round before Cleveland picked me as a quarterback.
Yeah, that's where dreams go to die in Cleveland.
Come on, man.
Here's what I'm gonna say about when you say where you go to die. And again, you're right, because there's evidence out there that says that's what happens. Everybody that goes to Cleveland to play quarterback usually stink.
Baker Mayfield.
Okay.
Yeah, some of them are bad. Some of them don't work. It's weird.
Baker didn't actually stink there. They just kind of got tired of him.
They got him almost to the playoff, or got him to the playoff.
Baker was playing well, but again, when you go first overall, there's an expectation that comes with that. And all I'm saying is this: the Cleveland Brown roster is not that bad.
Right.
No.
They have one of the better head coaches that calls plays.
Yeah.
They ran the ball at a high clip. They have a very good defensive coordinator, Jim Sorts. They have players on defense. The offensive line is going to be fine. You can find receivers. It's just, can you find a quarterback that you feel comfortable enough with to operate in that offense? And that offense, you don't have to be dynamite. You just have to be functional and be able to get the ball in the right playmaker's hands. Like Sam Darnold was in the same offense, guys, and it worked. And I'm not saying that Brock Purdy's not a great quarterback, but he's functioned in that. You just have to be able to function, and they'll give you layups in that offense. Run the ball, play action pass, and throw the ball on time to the right people. And you'll be perfectly fine. I think Milroe can do that. He might just need to sit down for a year or two to learn that.
Right. I'll say this. I'm like Herb. I think it got the Bama Nation's attention when they saw that come out, and we may be more a little tuned in to the draft as it ends. Boy, that NCAA final keeps popping up. Give us some money if you're going to do this. Speaking of that, we got a rapid fire with this next round. We got to go quick, which is that's what she said. But man,
come on, knock it off. Nasty work.
Don't even.
Work.
Look. Before we get into the dominance going on all over the capstone, we got to talk about the place that houses the decades of dominance that is Alabama athletics, and that is the Bryant Museum. They will be open during A-Day this coming Saturday, April 12th from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m., and we'll have opportunities for autographs, pictures with former Bama football greats from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., and visitors get one free item autographed with paid admission, $20 for each additional item. And now I'm going to give you a little list of the former greats that will be there, the former players. That Ryan Anderson, guy played a little bit of defense at the Capstone. Joustin Fowler could do it all. Wallace Gilberry getting it done. Marquise Mays getting them dizzy. Brandon Myree from running back. That's from my boy Smokes time. Our boy, the man with all the soul, Reggie Ragland. Trent Richardson still breaking ankles. Bo Scarber still running them over. Alphonse Taylor, DeAndrew White, Jarek Williams. I could have kept going, but I can't do intros for all of them. Man, a host of Bama players. Get there this Saturday. Admission. Adults, $5. Children, K through 12, $3. Free admission for children under 5. University of Alabama faculty, staff, and students. Circle of Champions and UA Museum members and Blue Star families get in free. Go out to the Bryant Museum. Give some support to Olivia, who has always been wonderful to us here at the Bama Standard. You're going to throw a flag because I got to the last 3 and just blew by it. Yeah,
Hold on, man. 20-second timeout.
What? You let me
Here we go. All right. So I heard all of those names. I haven't heard a number 4. You know what, Petty? I've never, ever received an invitation to go into a place that I've done and my stuff in there. There's some smoke clips in there to go back there. Now, I understand there's politics and I don't want to be invited because my mom always told me, no bones provided, no dogs invited. Right? But I've never gotten an invitation to go back and sign autographs. Now, Brandon Myree, my brother, he ain't even finished playing at the Capstone. So how did Brandon Myree jump in front of Smoke? I was 4 before Marquise Hayes. I ain't get one. Nudie, great player, but man, my class, nobody from my class ever get invited back. What did we do so bad at Alabama? Did we not win the SEC championship?
All I remember is Bama ain't beat Tennessee in a long time, and Smoke's running down that sideline setting the tone.
Man, listen, shout out to Alabama, folks. You see the Vandy helmet right beside me over there somewhere. You see the Bama helmet over there. You know, that's why people always ask me, Smoke, how come you're not so involved in the Alabama brotherhood? I don't get treated like I'm supposed to be Alabama royalty. Just putting it out there. I'm never angry. I'm never bitter. I just play the game the way the game's supposed to be played. I don't have a shirt from Alabama, bro. But everyone gets a swag, box, everything. We don't ever get one. Herb, so did I do something bad at Bama? My classmates,
what's your shirt size? I'm bringing you a shirt to.
What's that? Smoke, you were trying to keep all them knuckleheads out of trouble.
But you know what? I got an invitation from a non-Alabama man, Courtney Morgan. Courtney Morgan invited me down to practice, and I've known Courtney since we both got recruited at Michigan. But it took Courtney to leave Washington, to come to Tuscaloosa, to invite me down to a place that I spent 4 good years at. Never got an invitation since. Nasty work. First time I've said it in 25 years. Never got an invite. Just trying to figure out what Smoke did bad.
There you go. Alabama. It's on you, man. We got to get Smoke out there.
I mean, I got to
rectify. I mean, we'll get you talk to him when you get down.
Man, I ain't listen.
Me and my bourbon, we're gonna handle this. I'm gonna grab a bottle of bourbon. I'm gonna go handle this.
And it's even worse. I ain't showing up.
I'll make a call. Van Edwards said he'll invite Smoke to a cookout, but the crowd is a little rowdy. With that said, you could get Smoke does have a title towel, even though he doesn't have a package from WhitwillSports.com that he gave the promo code standard and received 20% off. I even got it right this time. So, Bama, get your shit together. Get Smoke, our boy, back out there signing autographs for all these kids that want to meet the great Smoke Dixon, who ran down the sideline to start. Set the tone against some dirty ass balls.
Petty, not gonna happen. Invitation, not gonna take it. Only from Courtney Morgan. Shout out to Courtney Morgan. Smoke. One of the best GMs out there doing it.
Herb, when y'all were at the Capstone, was Bama ranked in everything?
No.
Everything?
No.
Were y'all ranked? Y'all ranked in football?
All right.
Y'all ranked in basketball?
When I was
Softball?
there.
I don't even think softball was a thing while you were there. I think it wasn't even invented yet.
Hey, Petty, why don't you just ask the man how old is he? Like, you're beating around the bush. I'm
Baseball?
44.
Huh?
Alabama, man. I don't know if anybody's paying attention. One of 3 SEC schools that is ranked in every major platform across football, 17th. Ooh, that's coming up the rear.
Ooh.
Softball, 17th. Those were the 2 premier. Now you got basketball, Elite 8, women's basketball, Sweet 16, men's baseball, top 10 RPI right now. Justin LeBron hitting home runs in the 9th to beat Auburn. I don't know if you're watching this. Go watch Justin LeBron before he leaves the capstone, for the love of all that is holy. He might be the best baseball player that's ever walked on that baseball field at Sewell Thomas. But, man, guys, again, I've been around Alabama a long time. Alabama's been great at a lot of things. I've never seen Alabama great at this many things at once.
No.
So are you trying to get Greg's agent involved and saying that he needs a pay raise?
I think Greg might be time to have a little talk. Bring the donuts and the coffee and Jimmy Sexton do his thing.
Are you saying that Greg's done an incredible job of hiring leaders in every one of those sports?
Absolutely. And look, Greg Vaughn from your neck of the woods, from Maryland, taking over the baseball program.
Another Maryland guy showing up to the capstone with greatness. Keep going.
Nate Oates coming from the north.
Very subtle, Smoke. Very subtle.
Smoke doesn't let it slide.
Buffalo.
Anytime.
Another guy was in Buffalo. It seems like the same track that Smoke's on. But keep going.
Saying we keep hiring these northern guys.
Some of us. But no, you know what, Patty? When we were there in the early 2000s with Gerald Wallace and all those guys, basketball, we're okay.
Baseball was actually good too. Joe Caruso, Big Daddy Taft was there at that time. You had, man. There was.
I just think that people often forget that Bama's always been great.
Yes.
Football was played before Nick showed up. It was just not played at that level for a long period of time. Basketball was played at Bama too. Robert Orr, you know that guy?
Yeah, Robert
Latrell Sprewell, like that guy. Antonio McDyess, like that guy. Gerald Wallace, that guy.
Latrell Sprewell.
Yeah. Mo Williams. Rod Grizzard, Irwin Dudley, that's back on the staff now. I just think that over the history of Alabama, and like you're saying, it's unprecedented right now, the level of play that all sports are in, but gymnastics was hot when we was on campus.
Yeah. Always has been, still is. And I think that's the thing. It's just shocking throughout time. We've always been great, but the level of greatness across the board right now is pretty impressive. Yeah, Byrne deserves every penny he's making at Alabama these days.
Yeah, they're gonna have to re him up, or else he probably will take off to somewhere. Maybe he'll go down to Auburn or something.
Yeah, Herb, you got a niche sport? I'm a college baseball guy. Do you follow any of the other sports at Alabama outside?
Honestly, like college football, Raj and I used to be big basketball fans before we got to Alabama. We got plucked down in Tuscaloosa my senior year of high school, so you better catch up with football quick. So football became king for us. That's honestly the 2 biggest ones, for real.
Herb went to school with Marvin, where they only know football.
Yeah, Marvin can't play basketball, but hold on. Terry Jones Jr. was a hell of a basketball player.
Central was good at every sport. They were good at other ones. Marvin just didn't
I was
know
back there when there was a Central before they decided to break up everything.
Antonio Bostic was a
you guys, are you still heartbroken that they actually care about more education than actual sports and had to pocket y'all off, or you still want to go back to the whole CI?
No, Are you talking about him or me? My dad actually got to be principal when they broke things up. He was.
Where did he go, Bryan or Northridge?
Central.
Oh, he stayed at Central. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's what's up.
He wasn't. He was in the Army. He wasn't a teacher before. I don't know how he ended up with the principal job. So he wasn't at Central before they broke.
Blessing, divine intervention.
You need an Army background to be the principal at Central.
That's the kind of that's how my dad does it, I guess. So.
Basically, if it's a school full of Marvins, you need a military sergeant running that thing.
Yeah.
Marvin wasn't the worst, man.
No, not even close. Look, We have talked about it. I know we had to go quick on that one. This spam keeps letting us know that there's a basketball game going on tonight, guys. The national championship has kicked off. Florida, Houston. Florida's a 1-point favorite. The over-under is 140. That's Vegas telling this first team to 70 is probably going to win it. I tend to agree. Yeah. Everybody likes to tell us, though, man, this Kelvin Sampson team, who at 69 would be the oldest coach to ever win the national title, going against, oh boy, got to get this down, Todd Golden, who'd be 39, would be the youngest coach since Jimmy V at NC State to win it. Which, speaking of, man, you know, Houston beat Duke the other night and everybody acted like it was a big deal. Man, Houston's been balling since the days of Phi Slamma Jamma and Hakeem and Clyde the Glide. Like,
God, Don, you sound old as hell.
I am old as hell, but
damn,
man, they're not like some Johnny come lately to the block. They're actually probably the old hat showing up tonight with Florida having to prove themselves. But no, look,
hasn't Florida won a title more recently than Houston though? So
they did win back to back.
You guys got to stop this. You got to cut this out.
Look, back to back.
Houston was a dump.
Hold on. I'm gonna lay it out and I'm gonna let you go, Smoke. Look, Clayton, out of doubt, probably one of the most dynamic players in college Florida. The kid coming off the bench, what's the Hall kid? Man, he's been dynamic all freaking tournament long, making big plays for them off the bench. I think it's Florida's tournament to lose. They've been the best team all season. But look, man, there's no doubt what Kelvin Sampson and the defense they play is special. They're going to keep it low, but you know, Juwan Roberts, he's the antithesis of what college basketball is now. 6-year player down in the low post. He's going to get nasty. I know it's boring.
You can't be buying alcohol for everybody, and you're only a freshman.
So what goes down tonight? It started, guys. Who wins this? I'm leaving it. It's open. Who cuts the nets when this thing's said and done?
Go ahead, Herb.
I was gonna go second and just pick the opposite, just so we got a fair and balanced thing. But my gut just says Florida is gonna make enough plays towards the end. The thing about having to come back the way Houston does is, you know, do you have enough energy for another game like that? I feel like Clayton is gonna hit some big shots down the stretch. Like, I see a slow start for him, but I just feel like he's gonna be that guy down the stretch. I don't think you're going to see – I guess it depends on which way you look at it. Did Duke collapse or did Houston take it back from them? But I just don't – I think Florida is more battle-tested. I think they're ready for whatever Houston throws at them. But the start is kind of like that. I felt like it'd be a kind of a slow starting first half as you kind of get used to the physicality and get used to the game and kind of get to the motions of the game. And Florida seems like they've been doing that for a minute now in the tournament, starting slow in the first half. But – Clayton's got to be the best player on the court tonight, I think, and the scariest shot maker. And I feel like he's a difference in the game. I feel like Florida pulls one out here.
You know what, Herb? When you guys had the great Saturday bourbon special, then you guys invited me on. Well, no, I snuck in. I jumped in. You guys were doing a really good job, and I snuck in and just was a part of that podcast that you guys do on Saturday. We talked about Florida's ability to play basketball at any style that they needed to play in order to win.
Yes.
And you talk about if you want to go the 3-point game, they got that with you. If you want to grind it out, they got size, length,
Alex
toughness,
walking double-double,
rebound, rim protection, guys on the perimeter that can get chest to chest with you and play good perimeter defense. Now, shout out to Coach Sampson for bringing Houston back from the doormat of college basketball. Petty. You talk about 1985 and 86.
I've been to 7 times.
I was 5 or 4 years old when them dudes was running around. Other than when Kelvin Sampson's running around, that's the only time. But listen, we're not going to beat that up. I got Florida winning it close. But what made how Duke lost the game the other day was youth and not understanding the moment. And I don't think that Florida is going to allow Houston's experience to get a hold of them like Duke allowed that to happen on Saturday. Yeah, Florida almost fumbled it away too at the end with Martin making a couple of questionable decisions. But I'm going to take Florida in this game just because, like you said, they have the best player and they have the best players.
Yeah. And look, I think a lot's made about the way Houston's physical style is. They do almost play football on the court, but that's ignoring what Florida's done this year in the SEC. They've been through the rigors. Look what they did against Auburn a couple of nights ago. That was a hard-fought game where Johnny Broom's a hell of a player that they went toe-to-toe. Alex Condon, like you talked about, Smoke, he's a double-double guy. It's not just he makes plays in the paint. He gets those rebounds that keep the offensive possessions going for Florida. I do think I think this is where the SEC grind pays off, and that's I agree with you guys. I think Florida takes it home at the end. They're down 4 early, but that's
they haven't been playing until like the second half of every game now in the tournament. All of a sudden,
and it seems like there's a moment where Clayton says, I'm about to do this shit."
Right, it's basketball. It's a game of runs.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think Florida has a little bit more of streakiness and shooting in them than Houston does.
Yeah.
Your browser is off.
I guess he didn't like that call, huh?
Nah, he hates me because he wants me to say, "Oh, you know what, Petty? Houston's going to win." And Akeem Olajuwon's coming back. And when Akeem Olajuwon comes back, Clyde Drexler is going to show up. And when Clyde shows up, Calvin Sampson is going to be the basketball coach. And they're going to win by 1 point tonight.
Yeah.
Now, he's back, see?
Your timing is impeccable. You know, I did ask this though before the tournament started. If not this year for Houston, when you can't keep getting to Elite Eights and Final Fours and not punching through. But
I don't know, man.
You're coming up.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying it was fortunate. Let's be honest. I was unprecedented. Last 10 minutes and last minute of the game to get by Duke, and now you got to punch above your weight a little bit to me in Florida. Can you continue this string that they've had lately in the last couple of years to get back here again? So,
great question. Unless I'm getting old, but isn't this the same team? All these guys are 28 and 29 and 30 years old.
That's what I'm saying.
It feels like they lose one person every year and replace that one person. But honestly, you could have told me that it was the exact same, like they had the exact same style, almost the exact same thing. Like you could have told me, no, Herb, those guys have all been there 5 years apiece. I've been like, I wouldn't argue with it. I'd go, okay, not even looking it up. They're like the most bland,
Dwan Roberts has been there 6 years. They're
6 years.
Nobody stands out on Houston's team. It's just that's Houston. We're like, it's Walter Clayton versus Houston. Tell me some people on here. It's just Houston. That's just who they are.
He's a 6-year sophomore, an 8th-year junior.
How
many COVID years can one kid use?
Yeah, if you told me they were cloning the players and just bringing out I'd be okay. That makes more sense than what they're doing.
Yeah, but I can't take anything away from the job that Calvin Sampson's done everywhere that he's been, especially at Houston.
Yeah,
of just playing. He reminds me, and I'm a big time Georgetown fan. It reminds me a lot of how Big John's teams were in the 80s.
Well, John Thompson, okay.
Yeah, John Thompson's team.
Huh.
And the way that he played in the early 90s as well, too. Just as far as intensity. They never stop pressuring you. Physical play, in your face. Now, the game's changed a little bit with the big man, and it's more of a stretch guy now, but they still got rim protection and still rebound. Communicate well as heck on the defensive side.
Agreed.
And are good enough on offense to run plays and hit timely shots. And I think at Florida, and I don't want to speak out of both sides of my mouth, if they come out and want to be loose with the ball and they don't want to play physical, I can see where Houston can just walk the dogs with these guys and go home, bloody them up, and keep the game in the 70s.
The defense is doing it right now. Another one that, man, you made me think when you said John Thompson and the style he coached was Nolan Richardson in his 40 minutes of hell at Arkansas, where he just stayed on your ass for 40 minutes and you had to play smart because they were on you, and that defense was so suffocating. They created offense in the transition, which is what Houston's doing right now. But Florida, man, they've just hit a big shot, man. And again, as Clayton can hit at any time. And man, I was talking about that Hall kid has come off the bench and made big play after big play all tournament long for Florida. So I expect this to be an exciting game. It's been an exciting show, guys. Y'all got a little bit of time to knock out these last questions before we run?
Of course.
You got to pay her. in Angels Envy.
We pay Herb
one of my first favorites.
We pay Herb and shipments from your native island smoke, so you're just gonna have to hook that up. Call Bob. Oh yeah, so Rico. I'm sorry, I just went straight into Marley. Is running. I was about to just reggae the hell out of that question. So Rico is running with the threes or rotation with ones or twos. I would be thinking the threes, maybe four. What you hearing, guys?
Joshua Haney, are you any relation to the Lee Haney, bodybuilder, Mr. Olympia? If not, hey, listen. Shout out to Coach Lee's son in college, Josh Haney. I hope that is Josh. But either way. College football, there's no threes. So we don't ever have to talk about threes anymore. He's rotating with the twos, and since Ryan is out, he's been able to get bumped up a little bit of action with the ones. And with receivers, most of the time there's three of them out there anyway. They're just rolling. So it's really a rep chart, not a depth chart. You're just trying to get reps and take advantage of your reps and don't count where you're at in the depth.
All right. The Run In Wrestling Pod. What position should the coaching staff focus on most when the spring portal window opens?
What's up, Mike? So Stephen M actually answered this one earlier today, and I want to say he was quarterbacks, and tight end's an interesting one because we have several tight ends. We just have no healthy tight ends right now. So you'll have several on the roster when it comes to fall, but nothing right now. Quarterback is another issue. I know people are like, well, we got three in a battle, but like I said, if Mac does transfer or even if he stays, they still would like a fourth one. So that's an interesting proposition, but I think those are the first two spots where they were looking at.
Nice.
You know what? We just have to understand that there's only 85 scholarships.
Right.
And even if you have four quarterbacks, that fourth guy is not going to play. So are you wasting a scholarship on a player that's not going to be a part of your team for the long haul?
Right.
So is that best putting that scholarship in a tight end? I would say yes. And if you have a walk-on that can get you through practice, because that's all you really need a fourth guy for, you do that because the three guys are going to be up rotating with the ones and twos all year round. And you send one of the guys that aren't in that package or in that set of reps over there to run scout team. And I think that it would be very beneficial for a Keelan Russell to run some scout team just to get more throws and experience, or if it's Austin Mack to do that as well too. So, but just looking at the roster and the way that Ben Grubbs wants to play football, they're going to have to get a tight end or two in the portal. Must. Yeah. But like I said, those are unicorns.
Yes.
White rhinos that we usually don't see.
Speaking of C-High, the main man from C-High, not Marvin Constant, not Herb. FF Rom, who is the king of SEC football? Which program? I've got an interesting take on this. I'd like to hear y'all's.
Right now or the last 2 years? Now.
That's the end. Right now.
Texas.
I don't think there is one.
Yeah, I don't think
I think the playground got shuffled out last year, and everybody said, "All right, Bama was king of the hill. Georgia knocked them off for about 3 or 4 years, and I think everybody got knocked down the hill. And I think Texas.
You guys are such Bama fans.
I think there's 4 or 5 teams that have got.
Who are the 5 or 4 that's played in the national championship game or semifinals in the last 2 years? Name one team.
But it's not Texas then. That's why I say I don't think it's anybody. It's not Texas lost to Georgia twice last year. So if you got to pick one, you got to give it to Georgia over Texas. And I feel like Georgia's ready to take a step back. So that's why I'm saying.
You know what, Herb? I think 2 things can be true. I think you can lose in a game that does not matter, which is regular season and the SEC championship game, and still be 1 play away from playing the national championship game. Texas. And didn't Texas also play in the semifinals the year before that? So if your program's been in
the first round of the playoffs a year ago, though, that's not really.
They weren't in the don't count. That's old stuff.
There was only 2 rounds.
So it don't count. So you're trying to make a case for Georgia.
King right now.
I'm making a case for nobody. I don't believe anybody coming into it.
I think there's 3 or 4 teams, about 4 teams that got to run.
All right, so tell me the first team offhand that you have that's in play for King of the Hill.
Texas.
Okay, good.
I agree that Texas is probably the front runner for it right now.
Yeah, so if you're the front runner, you're one. It's okay to be one. No, you say Georgia was in the playoff last year, right?
Georgia, Tennessee,
and they won the SEC last year.
Yeah, what round did Georgia win in? Crickets. They did.
I didn't bring up Georgia, so I'm not defending Georgia. I didn't bring them up, so I'm not defending them.
So that's what there has to be an answer. It can't be just everybody. It's not everybody. Bama wasn't in the playoffs last year.
Like a Democrat in the South, I'm throwing my vote.
Okay, so I think that brings up that's a good seg into Tan's question. Is Arch Manning going to be the best quarterback this season? That could answer.
He'll be the most hyped.
No.
Who's the best in the SEC?
I think Garrett Nussmeier is the best, and I think John Mateer is number 2.
Really? I like what I saw from Lagway last year, and Sellers needs to take another step forward.
Hey, Herb, can I drop some news on you?
Yeah.
DJ Lagway has not thrown a football in 2025. We're in April, and it's not April Fool's. Did that change your mind?
I mean, I need to call him up and see what's going on then.
No, you don't need to call him up. I'm telling you the flat out truth. All he does is in practice is hand the ball off. And his head coach has not said a word of what happened or a time frame of when he's going to throw again. Last time I checked, unless you're playing with like Marcus Dupree, Derrick Henry, TJ Yeldon in your backfield, you don't have to throw the football because all those guys' eligibility ran out. And Emmett and Fred T. So he hasn't thrown a football. There's no timetable for when he's going to throw. So does that change your mind?
Yeah, that's a scary proposition.
That's where we're at right now with Florida football.
Tell you what, if he can though, I saw the kid in person. He's a heck of a specimen. The kid's got it, but no, if he hadn't thrown, man, that's the thing. He was hurt most of last year. What kind of rhythm is he going to have with his team? I do think Arch is going to be. I think he's got the high ceiling. Nussmeier, man, people sleep on Nussmeier. That kid makes every throw on the field. He's got an NFL arm. Don't sleep on Nuss. I love what Arch brings. I think the athletic ability. I do think he's going to live up to the family name. But I'm with you, Smoke. I think it's Nuss. I think it's Arch. I think Nico at Tennessee. Don't write him off yet. I don't sleep on the kid under Lane.
He's not in my top 5.
Yeah, I wasn't impressed by Nico last year. I just wasn't.
Hey, fellas, if I told you that there's a quarterback that threw for 3,000 yards and rushed for 1,000 yards, what would you tell me?
He did pretty good.
Good or bad?
Good.
John Mateer. Get to know the name.
All right, John
Oklahoma.
Mateer.
I'm making my notes.
Sleeper. I think the sleeper may be the Simmons kid under Kiffin's tutelage. I think he's going to be the real deal.
I think that Nico has not gotten better in football since he's left high school.
So you think Nico's hit a ceiling that we've seen?
No, I'm not saying that. I was big on Nico. Yeah, physical skill set, yes. But when your head coach in his first press conference starts talking about your skill set like you just showed up on campus, yeah, I get worried and nervous.
Yeah.
When you can't operate the simplest offense in the SEC, I get nervous.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, there you go. Well, he's going to have some competition. He's got a 5-star sitting on the bench waiting to fight him. Oh, I might have to look at the kid's name.
You talking about McIntyre? George?
Is that his name? It's a crazy ass name. I don't think it's McIntyre.
George McIntyre.
It's some 5-star. He was a 5-star.
That's not a quarterback name though. That's kind of scary.
Yeah, you talking about the kid out of Nashville? That was there last year recruiting class?
I think so.
Yeah, McIntyre. Good athlete. I just don't see it in Nico. I can't go through another year where he's missing throws, missing reads, and the game has not slowed down for him yet.
Yeah.
Hey, you finally said something to make Bama fans happy, Smoke. There you go. Roll Tide.
To me, I think the quarterback position has a lot to do with actual football intelligence. And Nico's not playing the game with high intelligence for me right now.
Ooh.
And it's not like he was a freshman last year.
No,
he's been on campus.
He played in the bowl game against Iowa the year before.
Right. So, but regardless of playing the bowl game, you've been through spring, you've been through fall, you've been through the season. Your first to the second year, there needs to be a jump. So I'm really, really, really eager to see his development this year, because that'll tell me exactly where he's at. I've seen it in Arch. Lenore Sellers is another name.
Herb mentioned him. I think Sellers, if his throwing takes a step, that kid's running is different. Like, I know there's fast and but there's dudes that just run, that find lanes, that have vision. That kid's dangerous in the damn open field. And I'm with y'all on this kid.
He's talented as heck, but just remember, you have to pick and choose when to run. Last year, he chose a little bit too much, and what happened? He got banged up. He just has to learn how to operate in the world of knowing when. Once he realizes that and figures that out, just like DJ Lagway and Arch Manning, I think their game will take off. But all three of those guys, they need to take a really big step. Potential is there, but potential without production means someone's going to get fired.
Yeah.
There you go. Joshua Haney, I want to hear about Keon Keeley. A lot of people mention this kid. They want to see him take the next step.
How long has he been on campus?
Yeah. Is this his third? Is that what they said? Can I say this about Keeley, by the way?
Go ahead. You say whatever you want.
I have already seen this question on Keeley 3 times this week. And it's Monday. Like, I don't know what it is people love about Keeley. Like, this Rod's one of the favorite players. He asked about him. But it started 3rd time this week, and it's Monday.
You know what? Whenever, and I don't knock our fans for having really good beat writers and people that keeps you engaged like ourselves. But at some point, like, players can't blame coaches and can't blame situations. At some point, if you're that good of a player, you have to start looking within to make that step. And the same coaching points can't be made every single year. And the same question can't be every single year. It's like, why can't he play? Maybe he needs to figure out why he's not playing and get on the football field. I don't know many coaches to keep good players off the field. Bad players keep themselves off the field because they're not good enough.
There you go. Final question of the night from Paul T. What are your guys' thoughts on Diller Lonergan? I heard great things about him while I was at Alabama. I hate he transferred out. I think it was a numbers thing. Y'all got more?
Eli Holstein, I think, got caught in that same thing. There just wasn't a path to starting anytime soon. So,
yeah, you know what? I'm going to see if I can let down my guy Paul T down real gently.
Uh-oh.
No. I'm going to say, when you look at it last year, coming into the season, if Keelan Russell does not commit an early enrollee at Bama and sign with Bama, you only have 2 guys. 2 guys that didn't play as much as you did. So if you're a true competitor, I would have gone through spring just to see where I stand and then figure it out. Give Nick Sheridan and Ben Grubbs an opportunity, or Ryan Grubbs, keep on saying Ben, Ryan Grubbs, an opportunity to coach me. And let the chips fall where they may. But if he knew his talent wasn't as good as the rest of those guys, I'm glad that he got out the building to find somewhere else to go and play. But at some point, we have to embrace competition, encourage competition, instead of resisting it and saying, you know what, I can find the better grass on the other side and go over there and take my ball and run. I thought there were days that you sat down and you learned how to play football and you figured it all out.
And I think that's a beautiful full circle to the beginning of the show. Is it Ty's turn? He waited his turn. There could be something said about that. Mac waited his turn, and screw what's happened in the NFL, but he took advantage of it that one season at Alabama. Ty absolutely has a chance to do that. But what you have a chance to do is hit that like and subscribe. Come over from Twitter, X, hit that like and subscribe because we have a week full of shows that are going to be hot heading into A-Day. Smoke, what have we got coming up tomorrow, man? I believe we got some inside info coming on the episode. Who's going to be with us?
Well, is our guy Clint Lamb going to show up tomorrow and give us that inside information that we can't get from anywhere else but the Bama Standard at the same time that you always forget at 7 with myself, Marvin Constant, the Buff Bagwell of the world, our great leader, Justin Riley, the comedian that tells every joke that always is told about Marvin eating ice cream, Steve Brown, Stephen M. Smith, the most connected man in terms of Tuscaloosa news, and the good-looking one himself, Daniel Petty.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and the angry guy in the corner that nobody wants to hear about, One Smoke Dixon. That's the Bama Standard. Now, my guy Herb, I appreciate you pulling up, man, and gracing us with your side cup of sipping. Didn't offer anybody anything. That's why I think everybody likes Raj a little bit more than you.
Oh, man.
All you do is just be a herbal Uva of smoke and just ingest everything on your own.
When are you in Birmingham?
I am going to drive through Birmingham tomorrow. I don't think I'm going to stop.
Okay, well, if you stop here, you're not making it to your next stop. I'll just tell you that.
Oh, man, I don't even drink like that. Don't put me down to the ground.
I'm telling you, I have a heavy hand and I like to share everything.
So your elbow goes up.
Yeah, my elbow.
It really comes down.
My last birthday party, they have strategies. No, Herb, I already got one. Oh, no, I don't know where my cup is. No, Herb, you're
man, Bourbon King.
Everybody from glasses to shot glasses because they were like, no, we need little sips versus
pour out a little liquor for the homies.
Yes.
So I could do it.
So and then don't plan anything after you come here. Just we got extra bedrooms. I'll just say it like that. So
well, hey man, don't invite me to a party that I haven't been invited to.
Bring it on. I'll text you my address.
Love it.
Have a good time.
Man, and then back on Mondays, Petty, opening kick. I know you don't forget that time.
No, I don't forget that time. That is 7 Central, 8 Eastern. Woohoo! I get all the times right. Look, man, I'm from Mississippi. There's only so many numbers that fit.
You can't keep using Mississippi as a crutch. You live in Florida now, and you're well educated because you graduated from some university that probably gave us something too.
Little roll tide. Well, guys, all good things must come to an end, and it has been good. Our wolf pack grew by 1. Smoke, you're okay, bro. Just tell it like it is. You speak facts. Yes, he does.
I don't think I do, but some people like listening to it.
Well, we hope you like listening to it enough to tune in again tomorrow, and also check Herb. Herb, did you give? I'm assuming you give all your stuff where to find you.
Nah, my guy, I didn't give him a time. See, Petty, you jumped right back in.
Yeah,
I was trying to hand it off to my guy who was giving this bourbon speech, but you and Paul T came back on trying to say smoke knows fact. Listen, Herb, all they try to do is this, right? At the end of the show, they try to butter me up so I come back. During the show, they crush me. Right?
Herb,
okay, 2 weeks ago I wasn't on. I'm gonna let you. 2 weeks I wasn't on. 2 weekends, no, was it Tuesdays ago I wasn't on, and they had my guy Kevin Jackson. Now K Jack's gonna say he don't know me. I don't even know who this smoke guy is. Last time, Kevin, that we hung out was at Dothan High School at the basketball game. You, myself, Ashawn Larkins, Kelvis with my K White, and Kevlin Sigler all hung out. And we had a good time at Dothan High School's basketball game. We went out and we hung out. But maybe sometimes they just need to see this not so good looking face with the name that comes in. And sometimes when you don't put people in the top 5 or whatever, they think that it's throwing a shot. But he might have been number 6. Who knows? But he just wasn't 5.
Still salty about that KJ interaction. We have got to.
No, I ain't salty about my man KJ because KJ's my brother. I'm salty about you guys that threw me under the bus and said I didn't know anything and Smoke don't even know how to judge a Chip Ahoy cookie. can't evaluate. The only one that didn't throw me under the bus, Stephen M. Smith.
That's just because he didn't have a chance.
Yeah, because you know what? I ain't gonna say. Hey,
Marvin probably did a Stephen M. impersonation throwing.
Hey, you know what, Herb? Go ahead and tell all the good people where we can find you, how we can always bring you back on here, and how you're gonna make sure that next time that we come on here, it's really smoking Herb, not petty on the opening kick. We're moving that off. We're getting rid of that.
Hold on now, I'm getting it.
Yeah, we're gonna fire you on your day off, just like you guys crushed me on my day off.
Kicked off my own show.
No, you're gonna be on it. We're just not gonna be on it with you.
Herb's that sly dude with bourbon at the bar that just shows up. He's sitting there having a few drinks, and by the end of the night, man, he's done walked in on every party, and that's what he is here. Tell him where all you at, Herb. You're everywhere.
Yeah, well, basically that's it. Anybody who misses the show, I take it. I jump in, I take their spot. So I'm coming to take over the Bama Standard Network soon. But right now, just talking Bama Sunday night, 7 p.m. and the Herb and Raj podcast live every Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Central. And then we between names on Saturday night, Herb and Raj After Dark or Herb and Raj Unhinged, depending on when you check in with us Saturday nights. We're going to keep that one going through the summer and wait till the fall. It's going to be a lot more fun too. But you want to come sit down, have a drink with us Saturday nights? That's the show to watch too.
I'm going to have to show up on that one. I'm going to have to grab a drink.
Smoke, like Smoke said, it's a good time.
Hey, Petty, no fog, only drinks. No fog.
I can do that too.
Okay.
Just making sure. And yes, anybody's rolling through Bama, you hit me up. Like I said, make me the last stop. Don't make me the first stop. Or if you make me the first stop, it will be the last stop.
Ooh, shots fired.
That's what she said. All right. With that said, we will see you next week. Smoke loves that on those words. Smoke's favorite 2 words in all of life. Roll Tide. See you next week. Appreciate it, Herb.